Hey friends, welcome to a new video here on the LNM channel. Today we are going to be working on DIAMINE INKVENT's week 2, the colors. So we are going to be revealing each day one by one. There will be timestamps for each color so that you guys can go to each one if you want to look at the colors and my reactions to them and kind of take a closer look at that. But then at the end, we are also going to be doing a review of the colors as a palette. I'm going to be doing some ink play and looking at how the colors kind of work together. We will also be reviewing the colors themselves and comparing them to the other colors in my collection to see if I have anything else in my swatches that kind of resembles those colors. Just to kind of recap what it is that I'm using the Hobonichi Weeks from 2024 with the original Tomoe River paper, the Onion Skin Journal in the A4 size, and then the M5 for little individual inserts. So I am using all of those. The M5 has plotter paper inserts as well. So kind of keeping that in mind, that's what we're going to be doing today. Feel free to jump around if you would prefer. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started with this. So today we are going to start with day 8. If I can locate it on the calendar, that's day 9. Where's 8? That's 18. 8, right in the middle. Right here. So let us go ahead and open what is behind door 8. Dreamcatcher. Shimmering. Let's see. What do you guys think it's going to be? Let's see. Extreme sheen. Of course it is. Of course it's an extreme sheen. Okay, so I know for a fact I'm not going to like this color. I'm definitely not going to ink it. I can be okay with a sheen barely, but an extreme sheen, last year's extreme sheens were to me some of the colors that I disliked the most. I will say I created some really good printables from one of the colors that I didn't like. I believe it's Grotto from last year. I don't like that color for writing. However, I did some printables for it and I really like how those came out. It's actually one of my favorite printables from the year. So, I mean, there's potential, right? Like, just because I don't necessarily like a color for writing, because I use a lot of of the fountain pen inks for art, they end up being, they have potential even if I don't end up liking them for their intended purpose. The only ones that I think are kind of difficult in that sense are the scented inks, because when you're using them for art, you end up having to use them in larger quantities. And so the smell can be a little bit nauseating, depending on what the smell is. I didn't have that experience with Forest Gâteau, but using smoky tobacco the other day for the inks was hard. So that is the close-up to Dreamcatcher. I wonder what sheen it's going to have. It'll probably be red like every other blue ink. But if it ends up sheening another color, then I will be pleasantly surprised, of course. So we are coming into here. And where is Tomie? Oh, sneak peek of my new personal rings binder that I got from Me Plus. There will be a dedicated video. If it hasn't come out yet, it will be coming out soon. Okay. And I'm not prepared. I didn't get my utensil ready. I always find myself wanting to shake the colors. Okay, I think this will probably be a tealish bluish with a green sheen, if it's not a red sheen. I always want to shake them, even though technically you don't need to shake sheening inks. I do find that sheening inks tend to be the darkest colors. I don't have much hope, guys, for this not being a red sheener. Right now, it's looking like it might be purple, which I mean, I guess is not red, but it's definitely red adjacent. Okay, Dream. There's that red. It's peeking through. Are you seeing it? I didn't check to see if I was focused. I apologize if I wasn't. Hopefully I am. I'm getting used to this new camera and I still am not 100% used to not being able to see myself, like see my recording on the screen as I'm doing so. So my apologies. And this is day 8. And I'm going to add, instead of the day again, or the name again, I'm going to add the property. I realized a little bit late last week that I wasn't doing that. So I will be doing it from now on, just so that it's fairly easy to see. I find that I like sheening inks a little bit more in a thinner nib, so I might consider kind of like trying a sheening ink that way, but oh no. I don't know why I have such a personal vendetta. Well, I know why I have such a personal vendetta with sheening inks. It's because they always smear on me. I have apparently very oily hands. And so just the idea that they're never going to be dry, oh, infuriates me. Okay, so that's Dreamcatcher. To no one's surprise, it's a reddish sheening ink. Dreamcatcher. I like the name. So there's that. Okay, let's go ahead and go into the onion skin journal to swatch this. Moment of silence for this amazing crinkly paper. Oh, scrumptious. Okay. So Dreamcatcher. I'm gonna try out a glass spoon instead of the bottle stopper this time around. See how that goes. I feel like the bottle stopper that I have for some reason might be a little bit too porous. Who knows? Do you find sheening inks to be sticky? I find them to be a little sticky. Not as sticky as maybe like a pigment ink per se, but definitely sticky. And I find that they are some of the most difficult colors to clean off, like from a brush. Yeah, I find them to be very difficult to clean off from a brush. Like, I don't know, they're pretty staining. Again, I know that pigment inks are probably the most staining of the colors, but yeah, that's just my experience with them. Okay. I obviously don't know what kind of font I want for this color since it's all over the place, but we're gonna go with it. And once again, I am trying for this to be kind of like one page for the whole week, and I proceeded to do a huge swatch. So, will I ever learn? Who knows? You can definitely see a lot of that red in there. Less color, Chris, less color. And I think because sheening inks tend to be so deep in color, that's just been my experience. They are very deep in color. I think that's probably why I like them for like certain printable sheets, because they just tend to have a lot of richness. Okay, and we are back with the M5. And as mentioned before, if you are new here though, I'll mention it. The M5 is me kind of like exploring what the color looks like with different variations of color being introduced. So I will add color add water every single time, and less of the color will hopefully be in there so we can kind of see how if there's any splitting. There usually will be, but like some variation of what might be in the color. And yeah, that's basically what this is, the M5. And then I will also day 8 dream catcher. I'll also write in a poem or not a poem, but like I'm using a quote. A quote is more probably more accurate, probably, of a statement. And today's quote is going to be by someone called, or not today, but this color's quote is going to be by someone called Stuart Hall. I do quite like the layers of separation on that. And that's what I mean again by that, like, even though I don't like this color for writing, right, because of the sheening situation, I think that it would be beautiful in a printable sheet. So I will most definitely be using it for art-related purposes. Love that. So there's the quote again. Oops. There's no escape from the fact that meaning is, in the end, interpretation. And that's what that looks like while wet. So I will put this to the side and we will look at it later on to be able to compare with the other colors. But we shall move on to the next color now. That was Dreamcatcher. Okay, now we are moving on to day 9. Let's see what is behind door 9. Bittersweet. Okay, I like the color right off the bat. I think probably, what, standard? I guess right. So, Bittersweet is a standard. Okay, so let's go ahead and swatch Bittersweet. Looks like it's going to be kind of like a minty color. Mint Twist from last year was actually a color that I was very surprised about liking. Because it's not a color I would say that I like, and yet writing with it was such a fun experience. Ooh, I would say this is kind of like Mint Twist from what I can remember Mint Twist will look like without the whatchamacallit, without the shimmer. Pretty. That is Bittersweet. Good amount of shading. I think it's actually going to be a little bit darker than Mint Twist, but I'm excited to kind of compare that because I do think it's fairly similar. Okay, so let's go into the Onion Skin journal now. Yeah, I really like this color. Yeah, I really like this color quite a lot. And the quote I'm gonna put here is just one that I found also on Arena. I am a little bit worried that it's a bit light on this one. So that's something to keep in mind, but that is day 9, Bittersweet. The quote says, "The things that excite you are not random. They are connected to your purpose. Follow them." So I'm gonna go ahead and put that to dry and we can move on to our next color. Okay, so now it's time to reveal day 10. So let's see what is behind the box. Nostalgia, and it looks like it's a purple. Okay. What do we think it is? I'm gonna say standard. Ooh, a chameleon ink. Okay, okay, okay. Let's see. Huh. Let me open this up so we can take a better look at it. Okay, so our day 10 color is called Nostalgia, which is a chameleon ink. And it looks like it's a combination of pink and gold shimmer. So probably gold shimmer that looks pink or pink shimmer that looks gold. So it ends up making kind of like a rose goldy color. Okay, that's beautiful. I'm excited about this one. I do, like I mentioned, I do like shimmer inks a little bit more. My favorite is the standard ink that shades, but I do like me a good shimmer ink. I'm not that upset. Again, shimmer inks are one of those things where if I do not want the shimmer, I can just not shake the bottle. So, I'm not pressed about it. I wonder if the effect will be kind of dusty or gray. Oh, OMG. It's a gray with that OMG. Okay. Okay, guys. Keep calm. Keep calm. We don't need to freak out. I know I'm gonna love this color. I know I'm gonna love it hard. Oh man. I know, I know. But no, not a lot of people like grays. So I know that this color is not gonna be for everyone. This is kind of like a dark, um, cool. No, I want to say it's like a warm gray. Oh man. I am perhaps a little bit obsessed. I'm even gonna zoom you in a little bit more. Okay, I love that. I love that. I remember there was a viewer who asked me if I knew about any shimmering blacks. And I could say this is probably, oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, so this is day 10, and it's a chameleon ink. I'm a little bit obsessed. Guys, I think this is probably going to be a hard one to beat for me because it's dark, right? But you have the chameleon. The chameleon. This is a good choice. I plus the name nostalgia, like after my own heart. I feel like this in combination with blush. Oh, that's gonna be a okay. That's already gonna be a color palette in and of itself. Okay, so I am gonna do actually. That was a mistake because I'm running out of space. It's okay. Nostal. Oh man. I am obsessed. I am. I am. That's beautiful. I did eat into the next day, which is, well, I shouldn't have, but again, rules are meant to be broken. Oh, that's gorgeous. My moody self. I can't. I love that. Okay. Okay. Come on now. I'm so excited to see that dry. You know, Dreamcatcher, not really for me. It's just not. Bittersweet is nice. It's just not a color I'm always going for. Nostalgia is like a color made for me from every angle. It's a dark color. It has shimmer in it with pink and gold, and it's called Nostalgia. It was made for me. And I'm sure there are some of you that feel the same, and I'm sure that some of you are going to tell me, nope, absolutely not. And you know what? I understand. I understand. I do. Could not be me though. I think that's what's really fun about these ink vents too, is like seeing how everyone kind of interacts with the colors and which ones they like, which ones they don't, especially in comparison to like the ones that you like. I think that's so fun. Like to see that variety. I do love that. So I'm not mad if you don't like this color. Same way that I would hope you're not mad if I don't like a color that you like, right? It's not a moral indication whether you like something or not. It's about preference. And everyone has the option to like or dislike whatever. Even though this paper feathers like crazy, I love writing on it. Like it's so smooth. Nostalgia. An argument could be said that nostalgia is looking backwards, which is why this is going backwards. Was that on purpose? I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe it was on purpose. I'm obsessed with that color. Let that dry, and let's do the M5, which I'm so excited for. I'm so excited. And I just really love how this blotter paper behaves for this specifically too. Like I think it's really nice. It takes it pretty well. This like stormy dark color. Oh, it's perfect. Like the name, 10 out of 10. But there's like these hints of sparkle, these hints of pink and gold. Because nostalgia makes you see things with rose tinted glasses. I'm obsessed. Okay, and today's quote is going to be by Richard Sykin. Yeah, I think it's Sykin. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. The quotes don't necessarily have to be about something related to the color, but this one I think does have some relation. So that's day 10, nostalgia. And the quote I have written down is, I want to tell you this story without having to confess anything. Oh, I'm so excited to see how that dries. Love, love, love that color. Now we're going to move on to day 11. So, what is behind this box? Brrr. Oh gosh. It's going to be another sheen, isn't it? Okay, what do you guys think it's going to be? Pigment shimmer. What does that mean? Pigment shimmer? What? I didn't even know that that was in play. I didn't even know you could have shimmer in pigment. Will the shimmer disappear? Is the pigment also archival? What is the shimmer also archival? What do you mean? What do you mean? Okay, so that is day 11. So this is day 11. Brrr. What a name. Pigment shimmer. Pigment shimmer. Okay. I'm so intrigued. So intrigued. I'm really curious about the shimmer aspect of it. Also, look at nostalgia. Gosh. I'm really intrigued because I mean the point of pigment is that it's waterproof, right? It's waterproof, it's archival. But shimmer is not shimmer. I'm confused. Okay, we'll see. We'll see how it works. We will see how it works. Okay, let's shake it up. It looks to be a blue with equally blue shimmer. Maybe like a lighter blue. Quite a few. I mean, I know it's the teal ink vent, but like for example, last year was a black ink vent and there was only one black. But there seems to be quite a lot of um, blue colors, like blue tones, teal tones in this year's ink vent. Okay, and so this is how many R's? 3 R's. And an exclamation point. It's funny. I do really like the color. I think it's a beautiful color. Like, even without the shimmer. Um, I don't see much of the shimmer yet, but I'm sure it'll kind of like show up a little bit more once it's dry. It doesn't seem to stick to my utensils as much as carousel did. It does stick a little bit though. Okay, and then this is day 11. And it's a pigment shimmer. I like how it writes. I really love Diamine's Forever line. I love their pigments. I loved Carousel. So I'm not mad about it. I'm just curious because I didn't ever think I would see the words pigment and shimmer together. Even though I am fairly new to the game, so I mean I don't know why I'm so surprised. Maybe there are other pigment shimmers out there, and I'm just none the wiser. Is that how the saying goes? None the wiser? Well, that exploded a little bit. So absolutely intrigued by this color. I find the color itself beautiful. I really like it. I have no complaints. I'm excited to see what the shimmer looks like once it's dry. Okay, so I think I've said that already, but so this is day 11, and this is a pigment shimmer. Beautiful. That is beautiful. Time for our marvelous M5, which is one of my favorite, if not my favorite swatch of the lot. I don't know. I just find I love swatching, right? Like, also these make me think of pebbles. I don't know if I'm the only one, but they make me think of pebbles. Um, I love swatching. I love different kinds of swatching, and I like seeing how different papers react to the same, you know, ink. I think that it's really fun to see how the paper has such a effect on it, how water has such an effect on it. Even though again, it's not necessarily the traditional way of consuming, if you will, this type of product. But I am many things, and I don't think many people would describe me as conventional, if you will. Yeah, I find that this one isn't as sticky, which means maybe it won't stain your pens as much. I know that one of the common criticisms of the Diamine Forever line is that the inks tend to stain. This, you know what this makes me think of? I just realized what this makes me think of because I looked up and saw an image of it on my screen. It reminds me of cyanotype. Like that's the color that it's giving to me. Pigment shimmer, which is a color that I particularly love. I love like the indigo range of colors of blues, very, very much so. I don't have a quote for today for this one. Let's see. Oh gosh, I smeared that. Oh well. Okay, so that is day 11's Brrr, and the quote is strive always, in all ways, at all times, always for intensity, cold or hot, hard or soft, gut wrenching or deeply stilling, utter intensity. And that's a quote by Octavia Butler. So that is day 11. I really love that color a lot. I'm finding that this week's color palette is interesting. I'm intrigued to see how it ends, what we have in store for the rest of the days. Okay, so that was 11, and I totally messed this up. Let's open up 12 now. I did just move it to the side, so it's a little bit easier for me to keep you in frame. So day 12, what's behind our door? Ooh, okay. Let's see. What do you think it is? It is called Okay, where are we? Here we are. Bubbly like champagne. I think it's going to be a sheening ink. When do I not think it's a sheening ink? Ooh, it's a shimmer ink. And it looks like we've got champagne style shimmer. Okay, let's open it up to get a better look. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Again, it is a shimmer ink. Very nice. So let's bring over our Weeks and get this shaken up. I wonder if it's going to be kind of like a grayish color or like a beige color. I'm curious. It has to be a darker color, right? Because if not, we're gonna have a struggle with seeing the color well. It looks like the shimmer is pretty heavy because it's taking a while to. Okay, let's see what color this is. I'm very curious. Like a grayish color, maybe. Maybe it's green. See, that kind of looks a little bit green. Let's see. Oh wow, that has a lot of shimmer in it. Yeah, that has a lot of shimmer in it. It is kind of like a poopy green, like an olive green. And it's doing that little color separation thing that I am quite fond of. And of course, with a name like Bubbly, we gotta do bubbly letters. I like this color. Again, it's kind of like in that gray territory, even though it's not quite gray, that I really like. And I know I'm in the minority for, or maybe not in the minority. I'm sure there are other people who like it as well. But yeah, I am concerned about this being too light in finer pens. Day 12. I don't know why I wrote 12 like that, but it is a shimmer ink. Yeah, I'm a little worried about that. It might be a little bit too light for writing. I do think the color is really pretty though. I'm interested to do the water because I think there's gonna be some interesting separation there. Cool. Let's get into our onion skin now. You can already see the shimmer kind of showing up there, which is exciting. Okay. You can see there's a lot of shimmer. Interesting. It's a shimmer-tastic color. Oh wow, that means that we've got 3 shimmers in a row. Oh, this had water on it. Okay. Well, take this swatch with a grain of salt. It seems that I had water on the, I don't know what, I don't think I did, but definitely watery. It's definitely giving off champagne, for sure. Of course, this does have some water on it, so again, take it with a grain of salt, but hello? Ooh, delicious. You can see there, it looks pretty green. Today's quote is simply, today, this quote is simply, what does your soul look like? And I'm intrigued about how green it looks on this swatch, but yeah, let's go ahead and leave that to dry. That's day 12's Bubbly, which when I opened the ink, I thought it said Buffy. Okay, so that's Bubbly. So we are on to day 4. No, we're not on to day 14. We're on to day 13. Where's 13? Here. We're on to day 13 and then 14. But first 13. Let's not jump the gun. Let's see. What color do you think it's going to be? Red. I don't know why I keep trying to guess. Okay, so this is Molten Basalt? 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 How would you even pronounce that? Oh no. It is in fact a standard. I'm curious about this color because that's 3 blues in 1 week and it looks similar to Dreamcatcher. I'm not quite sure about that. Not quite sure I like that, but we will see. Maybe the color is different. I mean, I don't like Dreamcatcher, so if it's the base of Dreamcatcher without the sheen, then there's always that. But I don't think that that's necessarily great for a color palette on the same week. I mean, obviously, if you're doing this on a day-to-day basis, it's one thing. But because I'm doing it as a weekly thing, I'm testing out the colors based off of, you know, how they would look within the week. You want to measure the quality of the colors, the variety of them, if you will, on the basis of the entire calendar, but you can also break it down, right, to the weeklies. So molten, whatever you say with that second word, and then again, it is a standard color. So let's watch it and see what color this is. Okay, so interesting. This is kind of like a blurple, maybe? There is some color separation there, and it does feel a little bit dry, again, just initially. Yeah, see how thin that is right from the back? That feels dry. I don't think any of the other colors did that. It is different. It is definitely different from the other colors. So at least there's that. There's like this grayness and purpleness to it, if you can see that. Also, I really like how this looks together, just as a side note. Okay, so molten something. Molten basalt. Ugh, I'm gonna be so embarrassed once I see other people pronouncing this easily. Molten Basalt. Don't come at me, guys. I know I just said, why is this thing, standard? I like the color. Guys, I like the color. What do you want me to tell you? But even though I like the color, I must be unbiased. There is some sheening that I'm kind of picking up there, which does not make me happy. Oh, gosh. Must I be attacked by sheening even when the color is not a sheener? What have I done to deserve this treatment? I'm putting standard question mark because obviously something suspicious is happening here. Okay. So that's that one. Like I said, I really like how, just like that frame, like you're seeing this frame, I really like how that looks, all the colors together. I guess we could do like a bi-weekly palette and see how that looks, but we're getting a little bit too intense there. Calm down, Chris. Okay, so let us do our, look at how amazing that's looking. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, this is a very deep color, and the fact that it is a standard and yet has some sheening. Oh, there's some color separation there, guys. Has some sheening, still makes my theory a correct theory. It doesn't. I'm into that color separation that's happening there. Please don't be smeary. Like, okay, you're sheening a little bit, but please don't be smeary. That's all I ask of you. Okay, let me look for the name of this because I'm not going to remember. Molten BASALT. Whatever that is. I mean, the fact that it says molten makes me think that it's probably to do with lava, which again would make sense what's going on with the colors. So hopefully that's what it is, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I do like the color though. I'm not gonna lie. I really like it. I like what's going on with it. Even though it's sheening, I like like the colors that it's sheening with. Um, I just wish that it behaved better for me. That's all. That's all. Standard. Yeah, that's a really deep color. It is a blurple though. Um, I would say. Okay, and so that is day 13. And oh, that's beautiful. Our quote says, I have no intention of going through life without letting life go through me. To feel is a privilege, not a burden. And so that's the next one. Almost done with this week. This last color is definitely going to make for an interesting color. It can make it an interesting palette, just based off of what we got already. But let's go ahead and go to our last color of the week, day 14. What do you guys think is behind here? Mittens. It is called Mittens. What do we have? Pigment. Another pigment ink. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Pigment ink. Huh. Okay. You know, I was wondering if we were going to get a pink this week. I'm curious. I'm also curious because we ended with blush last week. And so the fact that it's right next to each other, like we started with a sheening, technically a shimmering. I am apparently one of the only people that got sheening on, which is crazy to me, on Celestial Skies. But anyways, we started with sheening inks, and we're gonna end with like pinkish reds. This might be like a fuchsia color. Ooh, I'm excited. Also, I really like what's going on there, and I already have a color that I think, I don't know why I'm shaking it, that's similar to that in my collection. A recent acquisition, if you will, and it is a sample. Okay, so Mittens. This is, oh wow, that's like highlighter pink. I know of a few people that are really gonna like this color. Oh wow, okay, I see you. I see you, honey. Let's get this out of there. Huh. Okay, okay, okay. I'm gonna do that, and then I don't know. I feel like doing really tall words, or rather letters. So that's what we're doing. like the blue, like Brrr, this one doesn't seem to stick as much to my writing utensils as Carousel did, or as the other colors have in the past from the Forever line. This is day 14, and it's a pigment ink. Pretty. It's very bright, and I do think it pulls a punch there with what was going on for the rest of the week. So I do think it'll make for an interesting pop of color. Yeah, that's like it almost feels obnoxious next to the other colors. But I think I can make it work with the palette in and of itself. Which is always a really fun thing for me to try. Because I think that muting down colors just is fun. It's fun for me. And for our last color, that's pretty. Makes me think of quinacridone rose, I think. I have to figure out my spacing a little bit better with these swatches. Although, I guess it's fine. As long as I have room for all of them. Pigment. So the M5 swatch. So pretty. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm getting a little bit of blue from just the water. So this is not blue. This is definitely a pink. So take that with a take that. I should have changed the water. Alas, I did not. So there's some blue in there. That is not real. It's not real, guys. Ignore that. But I don't really care. This is just for fun anyways. I'm not using this as a sort of reference. So this is day 14. Mittens. Okay, and that is almost day 14 Mittens. The quote that I chose here is, "I will never have this version of me again. Let me slow down and be with myself." Which actually I think is a pretty good quote to talk about how I'm pretty sure that before this video goes live, there will be another video coming out where it's a journal chat and I talk about my weekly arc and kind of like trying to establish a routine based off of almost what the ethos of this quote is. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave that linked up above. But that is the last day of the second week of Inkvent. Day 14, Mittens, a pigment ink. I was like, that's surprising. We got 2 pigment inks this week. So these are our colors for the second week. What do you guys think? I am going to let these things dry and I will probably come back tomorrow and we'll go ahead and compare the colors, look at them dry, and then it's time for our color palette. But yeah, I'll check in with you guys once these are dried and ready for a review. Hey loves, it's the next day and I wanted to show you what the swatches look like dry. I did also ink some pens and I wanted to tell you which ones it was that I inked so that you guys know what I'm going to be working with this week. So in terms of the colors, let's go ahead and look at them dry. And mind you, I did forget that I needed to show you guys these. So I already put my little vellum tracing paper over the shading inks, but let's go ahead and start with Dreamcatcher. So that is Dreamcatcher. It is in fact an extreme sheen and it is a blue with a red sheen. I think that that color is extremely similar to even one that we got last year. I think it was Cosmic Glow. But for example, let's say you want a blue with kind of a reddish sheen. I mean, go as far as like Celestial. I know that Dreamcatcher is a deeper blue though, don't get me wrong. But you could do indigo, blue indigo, if you are wanting a forever ink. Forever, like permanent pigment inks don't really sheen, but they do something that is similar to sheen. And so if you like the sheen but don't like the smudging, I would say indigo is a great option because since it's a permanent ink, it won't smudge. Mysterious Blue from Waterman is a color that I have. It has less sheen in it, but it is a dark blue with red sheen. I mean, I think that you probably have a blue with a red sheen in it. I want to show you Cosmic Glow because I think it's like about the same thing. So look, this is Cosmic Glow from last year. Let me go a little bit. So that's Cosmic Glow. And there's Dreamcatcher. So there's Dreamcatcher. So Dreamcatcher, Cosmic Glow. I guess Cosmic Glow is a bit more on like the ultramarine side. The blue comes out a bit more. But like, I don't know. To me, it looks so similar. So I'm not really pleased with that color. Even if you like the color, I just think, I don't know. They came out with something so similar last year. And I know not everyone gets all of the ink vents, but it's just not my preference. Let's see. Lamy Blue. No, that's much more blue. I don't have anything with that intense of a sheen aside from... Because even like Birmingham Pen Company's Suncatcher, another blue with red sheening, but the red sheening is much more subtle. Like this completely covered by the reddish, purplish sheen. So there's that. That was Dreamcatcher. And then next up is Bittersweet. And when I first watched Bittersweet, I said that it reminded me of last year's Mint Twist. But actually, I looked at Mint Twist, and Mint Twist is a little bit more minty, if you will. But it does remind me, so that's Mint Twist, and there's Bittersweet. You can see Bittersweet is a bit more of a green, like a hyper green. However, if you go just one more page in, Noble Fur was day 3, and this was a shimmering ink. So it was like this vibrant green with silver shimmer. To me, that's pretty much the same color without the shimmer. So if you liked Noble Fur but don't like shimmer, I would definitely say Bittersweet is about as close to that as you're gonna probably. I think that's probably my closest color in here. I don't have any greens that are that bright. I don't tend to go for that. I tend to go for more muted greens. Wearinghoul's New Hope Crown has a bit more blue to it, but they're kind of in a similar, I guess, hue. But that's about it. Even like here, if you look at my greens, there's not much really on this side. It's all a little bit more muted than Bittersweet. So there's that. I do not really have any color that is like Nostalgia. I feel like I could probably, can I zoom in it a little bit more? No. Okay. I don't really think I have any color that's similar to Nostalgia. When I was first swatching it, I did think about Nakayamate Black because there's something about this black that sometimes feels really creamy, but this definitely leans more gray because of the pink and gold shimmer. This leans a little bit warmer. And so it's like basically if you put together Chocolate Cosmos and Nakayamate Black, I feel like that's what this color kind of gives off. But aside from that, I don't really have anything that I can think of that is super similar to that. It is a pretty unique color. So even though I was complaining about the first color, I think that one does definitely get points for unique factor. Yeah, I don't really have anything like it. Nope. So that one is pretty unique in my collection, which I'm excited about. I did ink this one up. Brrr was really interesting, and I will show you guys in the onion skin paper because the shimmer does not rub off. So that is really exciting. Although you cannot really see the shimmer on this. Like you can kind of see it a little bit right there. You can't see it much, but it doesn't really, the blue that I have on my finger is from the sheening one, but it doesn't really spread, which is really nice. Unlike Bubbly, which we'll talk about in a second. In terms of Brrr, again, comparing it, it's like as if you kind of got Blue Indigo and Aquasurf and put them together. I feel like that's probably what color you would get at. In terms of non-waterproof colors, I don't think I have a blue that really leans into that colorway. Yeah, not really. I don't really have a blue that's kind of that color. So that's also pretty unique in my collection. Bubbly, for sure, I do not have any color that is similar to this color. It's a very champagne-y. It looks lighter than it did when I was putting up the swatch, and it doesn't look as poopy green either. And it has a lot of shimmer. I hope that you can kind of see that in the sun. It has a lot of shimmer. The only problem with this is that, can you see? Can you see? It like completely rubs off. So that's unfortunate. It's kind of like a powder almost. But I'm not even going to try and get any, I don't have anything that's similar to that at all. So that's 3 colors that are pretty unique. Molten, whatever you pronounce that last part. I still haven't looked it up, I'm sorry. This is classified as a standard ink, and this happened also last year. There's no way this is standard. The amount of sheening on this is crazy. This is a sheening ink. I don't care what it says. This is a sheening ink, and I did try and see if it would smudge, and lo and behold, it did smudge. So that's really unfortunate because I love the colors. I love how it looks. I do like the sheening. I just wish that I wish I didn't have such issues with it. But because of that, I don't really have a color that's similar to it. What I did think of when I was swatching this was Tariff, which is a newer color in my, not Tariff, Teal, Tableau. It is not the same, but I did think about Tableau because it's another color that kind of has Troublemaker. It's by Troublemaker. It has kind of like this sheening thing, but not really. And I don't know, something about it reminded me of Tableau, even though Tableau is much more of like on the green side, whereas Molten Basalt is definitely has like a blue base. And yeah, I don't have anything else that's kind of similar to that. So another unique one in my collection. And then we have Mittens, which was really exciting to see. I really like this pink. And yeah, I don't have a pink in my collection either, other than the hot magenta, so let's look at the hot magenta, because I think that's going to be the most similar one that I have. So we have hot magenta and we have Mittens. And I just think Mittens is probably a tone lighter than hot magenta, but it's probably just a dilution of this color. It's very similar. So that's a little bit sad in the sense of like, okay, again, we're talking about the uniqueness factor of the Inkvent. Although I know that there are a lot of people that don't have access to the Forever line as easily, and so getting access to these colors is a win. So I'm not 100% mad about it, but if you have hot magenta, then you probably don't need Mittens. Although it is a little bit lighter. I will say it's not 100% the same. So that is what the colors look like dry. I do really like how they look on the page together, like week 1 and week 2. I think that they look really nice. So that's the weeks and the comparisons. I didn't compare them with the M5s because my M5s are currently, I'm trying to press them because, because they're so wrinkly that they are all over the place. But this is what the colors look like on the onion skin paper. They're beautiful, 100% beautiful. But like I mentioned earlier, this, like, look at that, completely smudges. That completely smudges. This one doesn't smudge as much, but you still see some residue there. And then let's see, you get like the tiniest bit of residue, but definitely not as much as with Bubbly. And yeah, this one smudges as well. So that's the only bad thing about shimmer. Obviously, you're not going to be rubbing your hand on these colors, but I mean, sometimes you'll be touching them if like, look at my hands. It gets me so upset. I really love the places of the Dreamcatcher color though that don't have sheen. Like this right here is beautiful. And if we look at the M5, I'll just take them out really quickly so we can see them and kind of see how thick they are. If we look at the M5 swatch, I love the M5 swatch. So it's beautiful. I love what it looks like without the sheen. Of course, it's not a very unique color without the sheen. I understand that part, like I get it. But for me, I probably won't use this color outside of ink play. Unfortunately, it's just not going to work for me and my writing tendencies, if you will. Then it is Bittersweet. I really like this color, even though it is not a green that I would normally go for. It is a very bright green. I have found that sometimes I kind of crave that bright green color though in writing. So I'm excited to have that one, and it's nice that it's a standard color, so I know I'm not going to have any issues with it. Then we have Nostalgia, which I really love. I really, really love how the little swatch here came out. And of course, I do love how it looks here. I think that if we're talking about my favorite colors from this week, just like appearance-wise, it's probably going to be between Nostalgia and Brrr. I really do love this color a lot. I like how it looks. I like the gray on top of this like sheening color right here. Again, it's just one of those colors that I'll probably not be able to write with, unfortunately. Here's Brrr. Love this. I love this color a lot. It like speaks to me. It like feels kind of denim adjacent, kind of indigo. And I love the little pops of shimmer. Again, didn't get much shimmer on the M5, but definitely did get a good amount of shimmer here also. Oh, moment of silence for that crinkle. I don't know if you can catch it, but there's definitely that sparkle there. And Bubbly is beautiful. Bubbly is definitely a beautiful color. I was afraid that it would not be very visible, but it definitely is. I don't think that it's as green as it's showing up here. I think that maybe my colors mix a little bit, but there is green in it because I had some separation in another swatch. So definitely a beautiful, beautiful color. It's unfortunate that the shimmer kind of like rubs right off, but I think it's beautiful and it is legible, which is what I was concerned about with it being such a light color. And then we have Molten, whatever it's called. And again, this is really, really pretty. I'm intrigued because I found that the colors are very similar between Dreamcatcher and Molten, whatever it's called. I'm so sorry, guys. Maybe I should look it up. Hold on. You guys are gonna like criticize me for not knowing how to pronounce this word. Basalt. There you go. Basalt. Molten Basalt. That sounds weird. So yeah, it's just a different sheen. It's definitely like an orangey sheen. Again, I don't understand how this is considered a standard color when there is that much sheen in it, but I digress. That's what it looked like on the onion skin paper. And then lastly, we have Mittens, which I have a lot of fun with. I really like it. Excuse this blueness down here that did kind of like is a mixture. I like the little blooming that happens. I really love the blooming that happens with permanent inks. Where are you? Where are you, Brrr? Here. You see that there too. Like, it's pretty. It's really, really dynamic. And yeah, really like that color as well. Even though I do think it's fairly similar to Hot Magenta, I do quite like it. And with that, I wanted to kind of just share what colors I've inked up this week to trial out. From this week, I inked up the Kaweco in medium nib with Brrr, and I inked up the Kaweco in fine with Mittens, and then I think, yeah, yes, okay. And then from this one, I inked up Nostalgia in the TWSBI Matcha in the medium nib. So those are the colors from this week, and I did ink 2 colors from last week. So just as a little quickly situation here, I inked Fur and Fog in the TWSBI medium nib, and I inked Blush in the Lamy fine nib. So those are the colors I'm going to play around with this week. And this was entirely inspired by Bookish Mandy. So just FYI, if you're interested in more Inkvent content, Inkvent or Colorvent content, they are doing daily videos and weekly reviews. So definitely check them out. So that's this section. I'm going to go ahead and check back in with you guys once I've done the ink play, and we'll look at how the colors kind of like work together as a combined palette. That'll be our next and final check-in for this portion. Hey loves, so we are at the final stretch of this video, and now we're going to look at the color palette as a whole. And when I first started, I really wasn't 100% sure if I was going to like it as a color palette. However, the more I kind of like played around with it, I even added the little swatches into my current Hobonichi Weeks. The more I played around with it, the more I really liked them together. I feel like they work really well. Even this very bright pink, which next to all of them else, like all of the other ones, you wouldn't necessarily think that they matched. But I think that especially together, it creates a really interesting color palette. And I did want to show you guys, compare it to last week's blobs so that you can kind of see how the different interaction. So I would say that this palette is a very cool palette, whereas last week's palette is definitely much more warm. And so that is an interesting situation to see. I really like these little pops of pink that show up, and really quickly the pink and the bubbly, so Mittens and Bubbly did end up getting muddied, as well as Bittersweet. So what was interesting is that Bittersweet was the first one to get muddied up. I think this is the only one that has kind of like that more true to it color, like probably these two. And I think it's cool too. I think one of the reasons why Mittens works well in a color palette like this is because you have the blues that sheen red. And I think that that helps kind of bring it together. And then as well, because you can mix this Mittens with the blues, you get these purples that end up kind of like making it a little bit more cohesive. And so I really like it. This one feels to me electric in a way. I don't know if that's a word that you would use to describe it, but it definitely does for me. And because there's so much shimmer involved, there's actually quite a few sections where you get some shimmering. I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but you do get a good amount of shimmering in a lot of the colors, which is really, really nice. I'm curious to see how that's going to translate into a scanned image, because I will be creating printables from all of these blobs, as I usually do. But I really like them. I'd be interested to hear whether you like last week's color palette more than week 2's or vice versa. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. As I was swatching it, I was like, man, this looks really similar to last week's. And then I turned the page over and I realized how warm it feels as a color palette versus this one, which definitely reads much cooler, which is really, really interesting. Really love that. I think that for me, my favorite color of the week is probably going to be Nostalgia. I love Nostalgia very much. I loved Brrr. Honestly, I liked pretty much all of them except Dreamcatcher. And again, it's not that I don't like the color. I do like the color a lot. I just have an issue with sheen. So even if I like sheening the color itself, the fact that it's a sheening property is probably going to mean that it is not on my good side, but that is what it is. Let me know what your favorite color was from the week, and if you think that this week was more successful than last week. And just to make sure that we have a really good idea of what each week looks like, I just wanted to, if I can find my Hobonichi Weeks with it, there we are. Can I just show them again side by side? Let's move these things over here. So those are our first 2 weeks of Inkvent. Let me know, what do you guys think so far? We have 2 weeks left. I'm not displeased. I'm not displeased, even though we've gotten a few sheeners. I expected as much, right? Like I expect sheens to be in there. But I really like them. I'm excited to see what color palettes I can make towards the end of the Inkvent, based off of the different colors that are my favorites. And yeah, I did, like I mentioned already, I think I mentioned it already. I did ink up these pens, and I will talk about how it went with them at the start of next week's video. So tune in for that. Next week's video, I will talk, or rather, yeah, next week's video. Next week 3's video for the Inkvent, we'll discuss how it went with the pens, and then we'll unbox, reveal, and look at week 3's colors. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I would love to know again what your favorite color of the week was, and if you consider that week 2 was more or less successful than week 1. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.